For today's installment, I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to do a book review. I know I'm probably late to the party, seeing as this book came out over a year ago, but finally finished Sunrise on the Reaping, and it's part of the 3 books that I'm currently reading at the moment, and I had some thoughts I'd like to share about it. So the only Hunger Games book that I haven't personally read is Songbirds and Snakes. I'll get to that eventually, but I read the original 3 books back in middle school, and I actually recently reread this past December the original Hunger Games book. So going into this book, I tried to keep a frame of reference for what all happened in that book and what I liked and thought could have been improved upon in that previous book. Overall, it's a good book. I think that Haymitch is an interesting character to focus on, and I think Collins does a great job of fleshing out his character, but I do think there are some elements of the book that I think could have been not necessarily taken out or drastically changed, but maybe tweaked a little bit. The story is written in this first person in real time perspective, which is perspective I like and is one I'm using in my current novel that I'm working on. I think this narration style works in a lot of ways. I think it keeps you engaged in the present moment with the character. It is that issue of when you're making a prequel that you have to do enough new and interesting things to make it have a point. I'd say Star Wars is as a franchise in general, a pretty good example of what to do and not to do when creating a prequel. When you're creating a prequel, you want to put enough new stuff in it to make the story be worth it. So, for example, you take some of these recent Star Wars TV shows that have been coming out recently. Andor is a prequel to A New Hope. You know what's going to happen to Cassian Andor, but the writers put enough new characters and new content into it that makes it interesting and engaging. Take the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. They added new elements, but as a whole, I think most people can agree that they didn't add enough newness to make the show have a point. I don't think Sunrise on the Reaping suffers from this. I think it does a good job of adding a lot of new elements and a lot of depth into who Haymitch is as a person, and it surrounds him with a lot of rich, interesting characters. I'd say the tributes were probably my favorite part. Luella, Wyatt, Maisie, they were the heart and soul, especially everything that they did with Luella and Lulu. I thought that was where the book shined. I do think that Haymitch talks, and this is just like a writing nitpick, less so than a character nitpick. I think Haymitch